Here's the internal video of your Sprite Quattro FB caravan. Once we come in the caravan, just above the door is the control panel. So there's the main on-off switch, or the power switch. When you've got the water pump or water connection connected up, you press that on, and that one there is just to view levels. So viewing levels can be done by pressing that button, and it will show you the leisure battery level, or if you're connected to the car, you can check your vehicle battery. You have a carbon monoxide alarm on this side, which has all been tested, and there's a new smoke alarm on this side. You have a flash screen which can pull out from there. Just be careful if you've got any pets or anything, because they're notorious for trying to dive through them if they see something. Also on the floor there, I've just laid down the winder handle for the corner steadies, and in the pack there with all the service paperwork is the motor mover controller. If we move along to the front of the caravan, Ultra Store. Okay, Ultra Store is water heater. So you've got a 50, a 70 and a 0, so the switch in the middle. So this is when using it on gas. Now you must take that cover off externally, as I explained in the first video. Obviously have your gas bottle on, and then that will heat up your hot water on gas. 50 and 70 is just two different settings, okay? Obviously mains, plug sockets, any of these ones you see around the caravan will obviously work only when the caravan is connected to with the hookup to the mains electricity. Just down below you've got a unit at the front, and down below in the corner you've got another one for Ultra Store. Now that's when using it on mains, okay, and you've got two settings, your low setting and your high setting, and you're off. So that's again when on mains electricity, but there's a second part when on mains. You must, this door beside, you must drop this, and you must have the switch on here for water heater. Okay, so it's just in case somebody accidentally presses the switch at the front. Unless this button is also in, it will not work. While we're here, if you're using the mains on heating, on electricity, space heater needs to be on as well. This switch needs to be on before you go in the controller. That's your charger switch, which should be left on at all times, and the charger will kick in as and when required when hooked up to mains. Reverse polarity is really when you go to the continent. We have our breakers here, so if you ever want to test to make sure your mains breakers are working, there's a test button here, and that's your individual trip switches. We then have our 12-volt fuses here, which are marked up here, and that'll for anything that's 12-volt in the caravan, from lighting circuits to 12-volt sockets, etc. That will work there. If you're going away from the caravan for long periods, and you want to shut it down, there is a system shutdown button, which is just here, and that will completely shut the caravan down, so there'll be no power draw from the battery in any shape or form. Okay, going back to the front of the caravan, we've got this table pulls out, so do that, drops down, and that gives you a sort of a nighttime drinks table, cards table, whatever you want to use it for. And just to put it back, you just lift that one up and then push it back in again. Okay. In the first drawer is all the owner's manuals and packs for the caravan. On the cupboard, more or less opposite where the entry door, upper cupboard, is where your radio is, radio CD player, and there's an aerial on the outside of the van, pretty much right behind that. If you want to get a good signal, just pull the aerial out and extend it slightly, and that will give you a good signal on that. Come back, there's the dinette table opposite the kitchen area. Just below that, this is your dial here. It's going to be hard to see because of the light, but that's your for your heating system when used on electricity. The outer dial, the grey bit, you would turn that up to the highest setting as the top, the little markers are off, and then you've got the lower setting there. So depending on what you want to, if you're on a site and it restricts you to electricity, you might have to use it at a low setting. If you're sighting the van at home or whatever, you can just turn it up to the full one, and then the center one is your actual thermostat for the heating. Okay, so make sure the switch I just showed you on that Sergeant unit is on. That will liven this up, and then you can turn the heating on and the thermostat's in the middle. When you want to turn it off, make sure you turn it back to the 0 position. And if you're turning it off either on electricity or gas, before you either turn the gas bottles off or before you turn once you've turned the heating off, make sure you're not give it a chance to shut down. So just don't shut all the electricity off straight away. Just give it a couple of minutes to let the boiler or heating system just shut itself down, okay? When using the heating on gas, you've got a dial here to the right hand side of the heater. Push that down and hold it all the way to 10, and you'll hear it clicking, and then it will light, and you will know it's light because there's a little inspection hole down here. Through that inspection hole you can see the flame. When you release that button up, the heater should stay lit, and you'll hear it burning away. And on the other side of the heater, whether you're using it or gas or electricity, for the blow air, that's your controller for the blow air, and you can have it on automatic or manual or off. So you can just have the heat come out of the radiator, or you can have an automatic, so it will automatically blow it around the van, or manual there. The wardrobe above that is where the booster for our aerial is. So make sure the light's on for the booster. And then there is a, hard to see because of the bar. Let's try and get around here. Unscrew this nut, push the aerial up and twist it until you get a good enough picture, and then just gently nip that wing nut back up again, and that will keep the aerial in position for you. Sink opposite the bedroom. Obviously once the water supply is on you can use that, or if the caravan is laying dormant, any of the taps, it's really important in winter time, leave that lever up the way like that, just for frost protection. So you would do that, as well as draining your boiler and emptying your toilet cassette, etc. It's really important to winterize these properly if they're not in use. Going into the toilet area, when your 12 volt panel is on, your toilet flush is flushed by here, and then you have a lever down the front which will release and close again. Make sure it's in the closed position, pull it back towards you before you try and take the toilet cassette out. Again, you've got a separate shower tap, and shower is hidden up behind the curtain here. Again, winter time, always take the shower head off and just lay it on the floor. The rear fixed bed, there's a handle just here, and you can obviously get access to under the bed from inside the caravan as well. And to get it down, just hold the handle and don't let it crash down, just bring it down sort of gently. Coming on to the kitchen area side, cooker, 3-burner hob, all operated by gas. This one is for your grill, and that one is for the oven, and you have an igniter there which does absolutely everything. Make sure, obviously, when if you're using the hob, that you don't put the glass down for a good 5 minutes after it's been used. When using the grill, you must bring this little shelf out and leave the grill door open slightly, and then push that back in when you're not in use. Down to fridge. This controller here is the off switch. You've then got gas function, mains electricity, or the battery function is when you're connected to the car, and it will keep the fridge maintained while traveling. When using on gas, the only thing you need, a couple other things you need to do is turn it to gas. You then go to this one here, and you have to hold this button in, and you have to press this sparker button. You have to continually press it, and you'll see there's a little gauge here, and hopefully you can see in the video there's a little thin red line. That little thin red line will go up into the green once the fridge is lit. And you can also go outside if you're unsure, and you can listen at the lower vent, and you'll hear it, the noise when it is lit. You hear the noise of the burner. Okay, so like I say, onto gas, hold this button in on the right hand side, and keep pressing the sparker button until the arrow goes up. Okay, you've got various main sockets around the van. There's a television bracket here, but all the power sources are here. There is 12 volt and a mains in here for that television. You've got curtain tracks which you can block off the rear bed. You can block off the side bed, which obviously converts to a bunk bed as well by pulling this section up. Table drops down, the ladder's there for that. It's all in the instruction booklet. There's a standalone table to the left of the cooker, so you can take that outside. You can have it at the front if you're having dinner. That is just tucked away in there, and make sure for traveling that the button is secured there. Okay, so that's really most things in the caravan. The only other thing I'm going to show you is the boiler. So on the front right hand side of the caravan, if I knock the cushion up, our boiler is under here, and there's a yellow button you're going to see there. I'm trying to hold the camera and the frame of the seat up, but that yellow tab down the way means the boiler's ready to use either side, but to drain the boiler that needs to be up, so 12 o'clock position if it was a clock, straight up and down, and that will drain your boiler. It's very important to drain the boiler when the caravan's not in use or for winterization. You'll also see under here what looks like a mess of cables. It's not really. In that battery box compartment we've got an external aerial point which is wired to your battery booster, so if you're on a site you can pull the cable out to whatever length is desired and plug into an external aerial, and you will then be able to use an external aerial also. Okay, there's not a lot of storage under here because you've got your motor mover controller, but if you move that cable that area can be used. Other than that, the front area I wouldn't recommend using it because it's got heating pipes which are they're a convoluted cardboard and you don't want to crush them. Okay, also just we'll touch base on heating. You've got a little flap in the middle of these controllers, and that's like a distribution flap. So basically if you don't want heat in a particular area and you want more heat in another area, just close that flap so it blocks the vent off. If it's blocked off like that, it basically means you can have more heat at a particular area rather than another area. Okay, that's really the main things about the caravan. I'm not going to go over some of the basics because I'm sure you'll be able to work that out. Maybe lastly, touch on blinds. Pull down the fly screen, hook it in, and you've also got a blackout blind. Pull that down, hooks in. To release them, just bring the whole handle gently back towards you and let your hand go up with them. Don't let them go up, that's how they break. Again, to release the fly screen, do the same. And on all windows, you just open the tabs, open the window, and then to open the window at a certain position, you would just lock that arm in, and that would hold it open at a certain position. Or to let a little bit of air in at night time, or vent the caravan, you can close the window in the middle channel, okay, where my finger's running through, and that will let a bit of air in. But to totally close it, make sure the handle is on the inside, or the lever is on the inside of the catch. Okay, thank you for purchasing the caravan from Dixons of Perth, and if you have any other questions, please call our after sales department on 01738 626 287 option 2.